Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli, and tonight my guests are... First up, he's up to his knees in daffodils and sheep, and there's a note on here not to mention the rugby. It's Jason Davies.
You're a dick.
Swing low, sweet chariot.
I'll be swinging a chariot somewhere. You won't like it now, pal.
Mr. Universal Wales 2015.
I'm not happy.
I know you're not happy. It makes it extra bad for you because we had to witness that shit on the Saturday as well.
By that time, I had to hide all the sharp objects in the house.
I'm not surprised you disappeared off WhatsApp for a full 24 hours. You just couldn't take it no more.
I couldn't, honestly. I genuinely thought about ending it all. I was in tears at one point in the bath.
Did you know, it really doesn't surprise me, but we will move on. Next up, fresh from winding everyone up on Twitter, it's my favourite reverend and yours, Raj Patel. Hello, Raj.
Hello, #puppy farmer. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Do you know what? I'm actually sick of people sending me tweets telling me that I'm some kind of heathen for letting puppies go at 4 weeks old. I'd just like to set the record straight on here and say the only deposits are being taken. They will be leaving at 8 weeks and not an hour before.
Excellent. Good.
So I do have you to thank for all the abuse I had yesterday evening, and I have everybody to thank for sending me the abuse. Just don't listen to him. Just don't listen to him. Right, next up, still the Don Daddy and the man everyone looks to in a transfer window. It's Geoff Arsenal. Hello, Geoff.
Yeah, you mate. You all right, Gim?
Yeah, nice to have you back.
It's good to hear that you're getting a little bit of abuse instead of me lately, mate.
God, yeah, I'm taking it for you, mate. I'm taking it.
Taking one for the team.
Tell you what, it's not until like these times that I can feel truly sorry for you, because there are some tits out there, aren't there?
Oh, they're just. It's all in the game, though, mate. It's all in the game.
I'm fighting them off with a shitty stick at the moment, mate.
Blocky Balboa, he's available, mate. Anytime you like.
You might have to make a free transfer over to Herbert Bergkamp.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. And finally, making his debut on ABW, and it's a pleasure to have him on. It's Dan, or as you might know him from Twitter, at Jesus Chingley. Did I get that right, Dan?
You did, yeah. What, the Dan or the Jesus Chingley?
Either or. As long as I got one of them right,
Perfectly.
That's par for the course on this show, I think.
Yeah, pronounced perfectly. That's pleasure to be on here. Thanks very much for letting me appear.
I thought it was Jesus, not Jesus.
Jesus?
Yeah, I thought it was Jesus.
Spanish connection. Yeah.
There you go.
So we can't really have a Jesus because we've already got old budget Jesus in Carpenter, haven't we?
I thought
you got a reverence. You've got to have a Jesus, I think. Jesus Chingley is much better.
Maybe we could turn this into an all-Christian podcast. What do you think?
Well,
maybe, fuck that.
Sorry
about that.
Maybe not. Right. Jace, we're going to go over to you to start with for your take on the Barbican Pirates score this week.
All right, great. I've got the match report here. Smeaton Holmes 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Pirates 2. The match report reads, Carlum scored 2. Blah, blah, blah. David Isaacs through ball, blah, blah, blah. Andy Luckham through ball, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we missed chances, blah, blah, blah. They got humped. Embarrassing. It's disgraceful.
How many games they've won this season so far, boys?
I think they've won 2, haven't they? Or was it 3?
Joking.
No, I think it might be 3 actually, and one of them was the team didn't turn up.
Yeah, no, one of them was Smeaton Holmes over 70s, wasn't it?
Something like that.
But they play Niedercab away next weekend. Niedercab, they'll need an ambulance.
Aren't they fairly high up the league, Niedercab?
Well, they're higher than the Pirates, aren't they? Everybody's higher than the Pirates.
I might actually drive down to Plymouth just so I could stand on the sidelines and go, taxi for Carpenter!
We should go down together, okay, with a big banner, Carpenter out. Thanks for the memories, Chris. Time to say goodbye.
We should do it, Jace. I'll pick you up on the way through. We'll make a day of it.
I'll get the flares ready.
Oh, it's going to be brilliant. I think that, obviously people have probably noticed by now that Danny isn't here this evening. He is here in the background, but basically, in his words, he just can't be bothered. So we've got one scoreline to talk about this week, and that's Newcastle United under-21s versus Arsenal under-21s, and Arsenal won 2-1. And Serge Gnabry made his comeback, which is all positive, isn't it? But we'll move on then. Have you got anything else on the Pirates, Chase?
The
They're
crap.
shit.
The same amount of love as usual. Dan, have you got anything you want to chuck in on the Carpenter debate?
Well, just to be mentioned in the same breath as Bergkamp Wonderland. No, not really. They're fucking useless, aren't
You learn quickly.
they? It's good. I have to say, it's good entertainment from a regular listener. It's good entertainment listening to, how much they lost by each week. It's great.
Poor
It's a
old
great
Chris.
feature.
We could save 10 minutes by just copying and pasting the match reports and just inserting the numbers, couldn't we? I mean, honestly, do we have to have the same report every week? We lost.
Yeah,
We lost. We lost.
The best part of it is, Raj, okay? Oh, it was really close. We lost 7-2.
Right, before you dig yourself any more of a grave, there's no hiding from it. And every now and again, we get a result so shitty. The only thing to do is tackle it head on. Dan, it was 2-1 at that toilet bowl of a stadium. So can we have your thoughts on the match, please?
Well, I did actually get to watch it, and I never enjoy North London derbies, but it was just awful. I wasn't impressed at all by us. As I say, I never enjoy the games, and for them to fucking have their poster boy Harry Kane, who's been good for about 5 minutes, to be the difference between us, it just made me feel sick, and I still feel sick thinking back to it now. But I wasn't impressed. It sort of made my heart sink, really. It's not all bad because we were 1-0 up, and Ozil seems to be coming back to some sort of form. But all in all, it's quite a depressing day. Depressing week, all in all. So I can't particularly offer any more insight than that.
And Raj, we'll go over to you next, and I think we should start with the silver lining to what was that day, which was Mesut Ozil's superb goal. What did you think of it? He's doing well at the moment, isn't he, that boy?
He is. I mean, both himself and Theo have done really well since they got back. I think they both scored 3 goals each. Ozil's got 3 assists as well. He was the best player for us in both games last week, actually, Leicester and Tottenham. So, yeah, he took the goal well, but that was the only highlight of a very grim 90 minutes. It was thoroughly depressing for me, personally. It's the one team I don't want to lose to. It doesn't happen too often, thank God, but I just felt rotten for a few days after that, I've got to say.
Definitely so. I mean, we were going to do a radio show, and I think me and Kate just sat there and thought, do you know what? I don't think there's anything you can say. I mean, that Bruce Forsyth-looking motherfucker that everybody seems to be having a wankfest over, we're going to bleep his name out completely from this podcast tonight. It ain't happening. But Geoff, we'll go over to you next. The one question that I really wanted to ask was, did we have a game plan? And if we did, why did we fail to execute it?
Well, you know what? I was lucky enough. I went to the game, and I always go to. I generally always go to the North London derby, especially the away game. We kind of set up the way we did against Man City. Obviously, Tottenham are in a rich reign of form at the moment. Like you said, Harry Kane has been scoring goals, and what I think happened was it was the worst thing really. We scored a little bit early, and then we seemed to just invite the pressure, and with all that defending that we'd obviously practiced and wanted to get, we were so concentrated on defending correctly that we seemed to forget how to attack, and all our passes into the midfield was going astray. I know Tottenham was pressing us really high, but generally we'd break teams down, but we just it just weren't all the game. It was really it was tough for us. We couldn't pardon me, we couldn't really get out of our half. So it was just a sad day really, because it is always rough when it's an absolute pisshole to go to Tottenham, and it's worse coming out, especially after a defeat, because they're all taking a piss out of you. And I think it's the best thing we could do is forget about it really.
And Jace, I'd like to get your thoughts on this, because of course, after having a bad weekend with the rugby and stuff, it must have hit you particularly hard. I mean, there was no movement. We couldn't seem to string a pass together. Was it a case that they were really, really good and we were really, really bad? Or was it just a case of we were really, really bad?
I thought we were really poor. We were all too static up front. to me, Cazorla got bullied out of the game. You just didn't see the poor bugger. And it's a shame because he'd been in good form up until that point. We're so static when we're in possession at times. It's unbelievable. And, another player who'd been in good form recently, Giroud, he was back to being petulant and moany. Ramsey didn't have a great game. But again, the boys at the back, when they're trying to play out, there was nobody to pass to. Everybody was covered. Tottenham had them covered. They bullied them at the game, and it was just disappointing. We didn't return the favour and press them hard enough, all too often players would make a run back and not even look like they wanted to make a challenge. It was just really, really disappointing all round. And I'm sorry, but every single player in that park has got to take responsibility for it. There's no excuses. We've given them a couple of soft goals, to be honest with you. I'm not sold on Ospina, but I don't think there's anything he can do for the first one. Where he's gone down, he's in an almost impossible situation. He's made a couple of good saves, but the second goal, how we haven't closed them down, attempted to close down when the guy's making the cross, and how there's not somebody closer to Kane, I don't know. It was horrible.
It was a fantastic ball in, though. I'll give him that. But like you say, when you've got time he had too much time. You've got to slow it down quicker. It's amazing, wasn't it?
There was no attempt, Geoff. You know what I mean. For the initial cross, it was a great cross. It's a great header, to be fair to the lad. Okay.
Yeah.
But why is there nobody making an attempt to stop the cross? And why is there nobody, on Kane making sure he's feeling the pressure?
Yeah, even if you can't win the ball, you've got to put your body into him. You've got to do something. Just try and do something. Don't let him have It was a free header, but like you said, what a fantastic header it was. I hate to say it, but it was a great header, wasn't it?
It was. If we'd have scored that goal, we'd be raving about it. Okay, I can't stand the Gimp. I can't stand him. Okay, but the bottom line is, he's put in the back of the net. We can't complain. We've got no complaints about that result. But he's had 2 free attempts on goal. 2 free attempts on goal, and he's made us pay. And whatever anybody wants to say about the guy, he's got 13 Premier League goals this season. And that pisses me off because 2 of them against us.
No, that's very true. And do you know what I don't get? You see reports coming out like yesterday there was, Roy Hodgson should build the England team around him. And it's like, well, no, hold on a minute. I think, let's not run before we can walk. Obviously, he's someone that's come in and you can't fault that he's having a good season. However, I really don't see it. I really don't see it.
No offence, you don't have to see it, okay? He's got 13 Premier League goals. Right? He hasn't played the whole season. He's got 13 Premier League goals.
Very true.
I couldn't give a shit about them. I couldn't give a shit. I don't care about him. I don't care what England do with him. They can Roy Hodgson can shove him up his arse for all I care. Okay? I couldn't give a monkeys. But the fact he was allowed 2 free attempts at goal on Saturday, that does concern me. And, it's easy to pick out individuals. I mentioned Sant and Giroud. It's not just their fault. From 1 to 11, we should have showed a bit more hunger, and we should have showed a bit more commitment, and we didn't.
No, very true. And Dan, we'll come to you. It was a painful defeat, and all in all, a grim day. Is that the most pain you've felt from a game this season?
I think it is. It's the same on the rare occasion we do lose to them. That it's just such a miserable time for all Arsenal fans. But what wound me up is the fact that, as Jay says, that the 1 to 11 didn't seem to have that kind of, that extra bit of bite that you often get. Most of the time you get from the Arsenal starting lineup during the North London derbies. That wasn't there, and I thought that they were snapping into things, and that twat Rose, is that his name, that right back?
Yeah.
He was putting himself about, and we just didn't have it, and it wasn't there. And those are the games where you expect that kind of that level to be stepped up and that little bit more aggression, but it just wasn't there. And that was a disappointing thing for me. So kind of disheartening. And you go back to the marking. I fear for the last couple of seasons that's been our problem. We know that they like zonal marking, but as you kindly reminded me, Mertesacker was closest to Kane. It really should have been his man. And
but, sorry, Dan. But the problem was there. Cos went early. Koscielny went early. You can look to those guys work as a pair, and Koscielny's gone early. You can't blame one without the other.
No, absolutely.
It's horrible to say, but they work as a pair.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and they work normally so well together. It's just depressing having the thought of crosses being put away and players not being picked up. That was our problem for a couple of years. I kind of thought we maybe got over that, but maybe think these feelings are amplified because it is Tottenham. We played, but we'll see. We'll have to see, won't we?
Did you see that Tottenham lot on all social? I mean, on Twitter, it was amazing that mob. Anyone would have thought they'd won the World Cup, mate. They beat Arsenal for the fifth time in, was it seventh time in 45 games? And anyone think they'd won the World Cup? It's amazing.
Jesus, hey, the Pirates got a better record than that.
But I want to go to Raj next, and an interesting tweet that I saw was from GC, who comes on this show, and he was having a conversation with someone where he insinuated after that result it made the game with Man City and that win look like more of a fluke. Now, Raj, is that something that you agree with?
I don't think the game against Man City was a fluke whatsoever. I mean, that was one of our perfect games this season, and I can't see anyone disputing that. What's disappointing is that we've been playing so well recently, and to kind of almost collapse against Tottenham, it's just, for me, not acceptable. And it kind of makes us look like flat track bullies in some ways, and that we can turn over poorer teams, but when it comes to the crunch games, we kind of struggle, with Man City being the exception. So that's very, very disappointing for me.
Very true. And Geoff, I want to come to you next, and I will refer to something that you put in the WhatsApp group yesterday. And a lot has been said about who our main rivals are, but you made a very bold statement, didn't you, Raj? Could you tell our listeners what you put?
Jeff, did you say? All right.
Geoff, sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's been for a while now. I mean, when I was growing up, like I say, I've been going to the Arsenal since 1971, and all through the 70s and early 80s, Tottenham was a proper main rival. What I mean is, it was neck and neck. Sometimes they'd beat us, we'd beat them, and they had a little bit more success. And then obviously the George Graham years, and when we took over again, and then we got into the Wenger era, and it's been 20 years of we've been taking the piss out of them, and that has it's mellowed me with the hatred that I have for Tottenham, that I had obviously from I mean, generally it's your main rivals, your closest rivals are the team that's closest to you, etc., etc. But maybe it's got something to do with I live on the Fulham Road, as you well know. I now honestly hate Chelsea more than I hate Tottenham Hotspur, and the reason is, I'm just sick of their success. It's just, and I can't help how I feel, and maybe I shouldn't feel like it, but it's just the way you feel. It's the way I feel anyway. I hate Chelsea more than I do Tottenham Hotspur, and it's just all the success they drive past my window. They walk past my window with them smug faces every time they've won a game. They always win at home. They never get beat at home. It's very rarely. And I'm sick of seeing them bring trophies past my front door. I'm not going to be there anymore. I'm sick of it. And over the course of the time, it's just, and especially the way they've done it. That's what really, really riles me. They've just absolutely bought it. They've financially doped everything that they've won. And that's where with Tottenham, for me, the last 20 years, they've been hilarious. I've enjoyed their company. Everyone, all my Tottenham friends and all that, it's been good fun for me because they haven't hurt us. They haven't hurt, and I don't really see them as, although they're rivals. Do you understand what I mean? I don't know. Yeah,
Geoff, can I just ask you one question? Who do you want to win the Carling Cup final, Chelsea or Tottenham?
It's a fucking no-brainer, mate. Obviously, I want Chelsea to win it.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
Yeah, but No, that's what I can't understand. Right, that's what I can't understand. Although I hate Chelsea more than I do Tottenham now, I still want Chelsea to win that Carling Cup final. So that's fucked up, isn't it?
No,
Really?
to be
completely
honest,
fucked
though,
up.
it's not fucked up at all because the amount of money Chelsea have spent, there's a justification for success. If Tottenham win it, they've won it on less money than us, and what have you. So there's that aspect of it. Okay, the one thing that annoys me about the Tottenham lot, it's always, if we had a 60,000 seater, you would never see an empty seat. Or we've got, we're this, we're that. They always build an argument on hypotheticals. Not on success, not on trophies, not on achievements. Chelsea, hey, the amount of money they spent, it justifies that success, to be honest. We can't say anything about it. But, I just hate the fact that Tottenham, that's a bullshit of what they put out. 1 minute Pochettino, they want him gone. Next minute he's the greatest manager ever. They lose a game again, they want him out again. They're just pathetic.
I don't get any feeling from Tottenham anymore. I don't really get any. It hurt me the weekend, of course it did. I was devastated. Don't get me wrong, but I don't. Over the years, they've been a total irrelevance to Arsenal, really, because it's been an absolute piss take with them. Whereas over the last 10 years, Chelsea and Manchester United, obviously, and then City have come into the edge, right? I don't hate City. I've not got to that far yet. You understand me? No doubt I will. I know that I will in maybe 5 or 6 years once they keep on winning trophies. And if we don't, right? But Chelsea, it's just, they just hurt because they keep on winning things. It's fucking irritable, isn't it? I don't know how you feel.
See, the thing is, what I said at the time, sorry, Raj, I'll come to you in a second, was we lose to Chelsea something like 6-0. That makes me angry. It upsets me, it makes me angry. But that at the weekend, I just felt hollow. I didn't know how to feel. I mean, of course, there's the upset and the anger and just the how. But for me, and as being brought up from such an early age, being an Arsenal fan, I've always had that installed into me that you hate them. They are the rivals. They are the ones that any form of hatred goes their way. And that's not saying that I like Chelsea, but Carling Cup wise,
that's the question. Sorry to cut across you, Kim. That's the question. That's the question we was having a discussion about last night. Do people hate Tottenham because they are supposed to hate Tottenham, or do they really, really hate Tottenham more than Chelsea? Because I know we're supposed to hate Tottenham more than, but over the course of the time, I've now hate Chelsea more than I do Tottenham. So, and I don't really get that. You just because you're supposed to hate them, you hate them. It's a feeling. That's how I feel, and I'm not going to lie about how I feel. I don't like Chelsea more than I don't like Tottenham. I want them to win fuck all, the pair of them. Believe me, trust me.
But I think again, and it's Raj who can speak from experience with this one. It's the whether you've actually, and even you, Geoff, as well. But it's the either living in or outside of London to understand that they're the rivals. And as an Arsenal fan, the foundation of being an Arsenal fan is knowing that that's your main rivals and that's who to hate. But also there's the realization of when you live in an area and when you've been in that area, like what Raj said yesterday in the group.
Well, Raj was. I think he's the only living person that's still alive when they won the double, aren't you, Raj?
You keep bastard. I knew you were going to say that as well. I'll tell you about myself. Basically, I'm not the fan who's supposed to hate Tottenham. Mine goes back 35 years or something. I mean, my whole family are Tottenham. I was the only Arsenal supporter, so I've had shit off them for God knows how long. Luckily, as I said earlier, they've only had 12, 15 good days over me in the past 3 decades. But it's through personal experience. I mean, I hate the fans more than the players in some ways. I think the fans are just disgusting. I've had, plenty of walks down the high road and just hated the experience. I don't go there anymore. I can't be bothered with the hassle. It's a nasty experience. Today I saw a big Tottenham fan as well, a well-known Tottenham fan, saying that he's putting a reward out for the first person to thump Ty. Now, Ty is that Arsenal fan with AFTV, who I don't particularly care for, but that's just an outrageous thing to say, and it's a typical thing that they say, and it's disgusting. And that, plus all the other experiences I've had since 1978, will never make me change my mind about them. So I don't care what Chelsea do. I do care when we lose to Tottenham.
Okay, and Dan, I understand you've got a question for Geoff.
Yeah, I just wondered, Geoff, it's sort of interesting what you said there, because you're similar to me in the fact that the hatred has kind of dulled, might sort of be underplaying it a bit, but dulled for Tottenham because they haven't been a rival for us for so fucking long. But the feeling you have for Chelsea, is that similar to what you had for Man United when it was just us and them? Yeah, that's how I feel.
It's a success that it's hurting me more than anything else.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, if Tottenham did come to the front and they started really competing with us, I think it'd all swing again back to Tottenham more than anybody else. But because it's the success, the pain that they bring me, I hate seeing anyone else win the trophies. Rather than it killed me when they won the Champions League. Chelsea, honestly,
yeah,
broke my.
I'm a lot
heart.
happier that Geoff has said that he would rather have Chelsea win the cup final than Tottenham.
I wouldn't want Tottenham to win a piss up the wall, mate. Believe me.
Just to let our listeners know, last night it all kicked off on our WhatsApp group, and I went absolutely mental because Geoff was going on about how he hated Chelsea more than Tottenham, but he didn't say that he wanted Chelsea to beat Tottenham in the final.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying to you. It's bizarre, though. It's a bit fucked up, isn't it?
I mean, all I can say is you're fucked up, mate. You're
it's
old.
true. I understand.
You need to move out of Fulham and go and live in an ashram or something.
I need a counsellor, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Jace, is there anything you wanted to finish us off before we go over to the Leicester game?
Yeah, I've only ever wanted Spurs to win one game in my whole life, and that was the Carling Cup final at the Millennium Stadium. I was working for the local brewers, SA Brain. I put 10 grand of the champagne in Cardiff Rugby Club for Tottenham Hotspur, and if they win, they take the whole 10 grand, no problem. They lose to Blackburn. You know, what insensitive twats. My bonus is out the window. Sale or return, it all came back. What a bunch of wankers. That's another reason I hate them. They're fucking unreliable. They're just scum.
There's no finer way to end it than that. So with that, then we'll move on to Tuesday's game at the Emirates with Leicester, a side that we've been unbeaten against in 21 games in all competitions. Geoff, can we get your analysis on this one, please?
Well, yeah, we obviously come off that Tottenham game, and the first thing you want to do is get back into a game of football, so you can get another win on the post, you know. And it come up on Tuesday. It was a very, very unconvincing win, but we did eventually get the 3 points. But it was a bit tricky. We went 2-0 up. We looked quite comfortable. But having said that, they had a young lad up front that they've just bought. What was his name? Riyad Mahrez or something like that.
Mahrez
looked a good player, didn't he?
Yeah,
looks a decent player, tricky player. I don't think it was a lot of money either.
Yeah.
And he troubled us. He had 3 or 4 chances that it could have really gone the other way in that first half if he'd have nicked a goal. But then the second half we came out and we just looked tired and we looked a little bit. We was laboured, wasn't we? And then Alexis went off, and then Rambo come on. He got injured again, which is again it's troubling for us, isn't it? We're getting these injuries back again. He went off after 10 minutes. Giroud come on. And we laboured all the way home. I mean, what was a bizarre incident was a Giroud booking. I don't know what you boys think about it. I mean, he hasn't really done anything. The guy's, you know, he's kicked it against his back and he got a yellow card for it. Absolutely crazy, wasn't it?
He based it. I reckon the referee based it on assumption. I don't think he was looking at it. And then when he turned around and he saw the ball bounce off his back, he assumed that Giroud was obstructing in some way and gave him a yellow card. It was ridiculous.
Terrifying.
I mean, I do laugh actually that a lot of fans go on about referees for the last month or two, and I'm not really agreed with it. But looking back now, we are getting the rough deal of some of these referees. It's just terrible.
Unbelievable.
But
it was in the end we got the win. We got that's the most important thing. We got the 3 points. We laboured, and we was under the cosh for the last 15 minutes, wasn't we? You know, we didn't really get hold of the game. We looked a little bit out of shape, but you know, at the end of the day, we got the 3 points. We went straight up to third again. It took the pressure off us again with regard to the Tottenham thing the previous weekend, and we lived to fight another day.
It was very much a case of grinding out probably a not very good-looking win. But the question I want to ask, Dan, will go to you next. We had a good first half and a bad second half. Why has it been difficult to find a good performance from Arsenal over the full 90 minutes this season?
I think of a lot of it. I think Geoff just mentioned the fact that Tottenham game although they didn't look particularly energetic, I think it might have taken it out of them mentally as much as anything else. And see, Leicester, although they are in the position they're in, they haven't lost a game, as I understand it, by more than 2 goals all season. Now, for teams that, like your QPRs and your Burnleys, who have let in 4 and 5s, that sort of shows what sort of side Leicester are. They're a decent side. They're harrying, hard-working side, and whilst I think our second half performance wasn't fantastic, and that could have been for a number of reasons, probably because we're about as hungover as we all are from the Tottenham game of the weekend. I think Leicester are a decent outfit, and that they work hard. They were in between us. That the lad that got at the back, Ozil's second half, he was roughed up, and Giroud was on his arse as he does, sort of doing odd hand gestures as he likes to do, and they got amongst us, and they didn't like it. The Arsenal boys didn't like it. That was clear
No.
to me.
No. And Jace, we'll go to you. We saw Alexis taken off. Now, I understand today that Arsene Wenger's come out and said he will be back from Middlesbrough. However, your countryman Aaron Ramsey has done another hamstring. Now, what do you make of that? Because we've just seen that Dan's put in the chat box down the side that that's his third this season.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest. It was just, is it dumb luck? Is there an issue? They've brought in Shad Forsyth. They're getting the best in the business into the club to help us out with these problems. It could be just he'd been warming up for quite some time apparently. It's just one of those things that happens. The sad part is, you get twats on Twitter giving it, positives from tonight. We won and Ramsey had pulled a hamstring. How many of our fans are that sort of bottom-feeding scumbags that they wish injury on our players just because they're not their favourite ones? We need as big a squad possible going forward. And this knocks us back. There's no guarantee Wilshere doesn't get injured coming back from injury, because that's the time you're most at risk to pick up injuries, when you're coming back from injury. And Jack's been out for such a long time, he needs to come back in gently. So, I don't understand the mentality of these people.
It's not as if he's really been overplayed. I don't think he's been overplayed.
He hasn't. He hasn't.
I think the gaffer said that he has been cautious with him, obviously because of that. But you know what? I mean, it's the third hamstring in a row now. I should imagine it would affect you mentally. Really, you'd be a little bit paranoid when you're running for a ball, you're stretching out, or when you want to ping a shot in or something like that. You just got it in the back of your mind, haven't you?
It's a problem, isn't it? And he's going to have to overcome it. He's just going to have to, do his rehab, come back, and just work in his game again. And just, they'll have the best medical staff looking at it. So that's not going to be an issue. The bigger concern was, again, how static we were up top. There was one point in that game where I think it was Rosicki had the ball, and there were 6 players. He was 10 yards outside the box. There are 6 players between him and the box, our players, and they're not moving. Nobody's moving. The big issue we had on Tuesday was the fact that we just didn't get good movement. Everybody wants the ball to feet. It's Walcott's first time playing up top since coming back from injury. We just didn't put a performance together as a team again. And yet we had different personnel in from Saturday, and we still didn't manage it. That's more concerning.
No, and more latest news as well is that Jack Wilshere looks to be back and ready for Middlesbrough at the weekend. So, Raj, is this now his time to try and make that position his own? I mean, we've seen, Ramsey and Wilshere come in, and it's been kind of one's come in, the other one's got injured, and vice versa. But is this now Jack Wilshere's chance to properly stake a claim? Because we were only saying a few weeks ago, that at this very moment, or at that moment in time, he didn't get in that squad.
Absolutely. This is his chance to prove to everyone how good he is. And I still rate him as a player. I mean, a lot of fans have written him off because of the success of the midfield that we've got currently going. But with these gaps now coming in, yeah, he should get in there and get stuck in. He's got a real good chance there.
Mm. And Dan, you've got a question about Walcott, because we were going to go on and talk about him. And I mean, he scored another fantastic goal again, didn't he?
Yeah, it's him, isn't it? That's been said 1,000 times. If he doesn't have the opportunity to think, he'll fire it away 9 times out of 10. The moment he has 3 or 4 touches, that's when you sometimes have problems. But the question about Theo, and I'd be interested to know what anyone thinks, really. Because I was having a conversation with someone on Twitter about it the other day. Obviously he offers a lot coming forward. Does what he offers coming forward more than make up for what he doesn't offer coming back, if you know what I'm saying? Because the others who play up top, Giroud, Welbeck, Sanchez, they all offer something coming back defensively when they lose the ball, but Theo's kind of doesn't really. Or I'd just be interested to know if anyone's got an opinion about that.
Sorry, go on, Geoff.
His goals scored have masked really his performances, if you get what I mean, in my honest opinion. Because I know if you just look at it on pieces of paper, you think, well, he scored that many goals in that many games. You think, fuck me, he's a top player, this kid. But you know what? I've said it before on a podcast. I think he could do so much more. I honestly do think Theo Walcott could be a world-class player. I think it's a mental thing with him. Like you said, Dan, if he has to think about things and he doesn't do things naturally, that's when he struggles. When he's running at full pelt and he just flicks the ball around someone, he hasn't really got time and he's off and he's away. That's brilliant. When he gets the ball and he's got 2 or 3 seconds to think, that's when he gets a bit stuck. And I think he's got a confidence problem.
But to be fair, G, he's not long back from a long-term injury. It's part of his game he's got to work on again, isn't it?
Yeah, very true. But I just think I honestly do think he could. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not marrying him up with Thierry Henry, but he could be that good if he could just believe in himself. That's my opinion. I could be totally wrong. But what I've seen, I mean, I've watched football for many, many, many years, and I've seen players like this. And I just think to myself, that kid has got absolutely everything. He's got great technique. He's got bundles of pace, right? If he could just add a little bit of confidence, because at that level, confidence is like 50% of the game. And if you could just get into it.
He's a bit like Kieran Gibbs in that respect, isn't he? He's got all the attributes, all the qualities, all the skills. He just needs that bit of arrogance.
I don't think his injury record has helped, though, because every time he's come back, he's started playing well and becoming a fan's favourite again, and then he's had another long-term injury. I mean, you look at the last injury where, he was carried off on a stretcher against that shit up the road. I mean, he was just starting to come back and click with Mesut Ozil, and then lo and behold, he gets another bad one, and then that's him out for what was it, 13 months? I think he was out for in total.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to look at him as well as Ozil. Is he another player that maybe when you look at them playing in the game, it doesn't look like they've done an awful lot, but when you go to their stats, it tells a completely different story. I mean, Ozil doesn't track back. However, you've seen the assists he's come in.
He does, though. He does. His yardage per game shows he must be. Just because he's got a languid style of playing doesn't mean he's not putting the yards in. He covers a damn sight more ground than Santi Cazorla.
Even though Santi Cazorla has been doing the defensive job in that team.
The stats say he covers more ground. You can't argue with the fact he's covered X amount of ground.
That's why I'm not really a lover of stats. I like to just watch the game and see it as it is. But I understand what you're saying about it. But I do still think he's struggling a little bit with the tenacity and the fierceness of the Premier League. Sometimes you see when the ball, he gets someone to crunch into him and the ball will roll off to a throw, and then he'll look up and say, what the fuck's going on here? Where's the referee? You know what I mean? I've just been clumped there, and no, I'm not getting any support. And he does look a little bit, I think it's just like you say, it's his language style and his demeanour that he's not really interested in the game. And to be honest with you, I don't really, if we could have it, I don't really want him tracking back. I want him to get the ball in the final third of the pitch, because that's when he does his damage. You see, the one that Theo, was it Theo? He went through, he passed a lovely ball to Theo against the Leicester. And, he should have scored, really, Theo.
Geoff, 88% pass completion on the night says, that he didn't have that bad a game.
No,
2
no.
assists as well.
No,
So,
I agree.
if you did want to refer back to stats, you'd say that, Mesut Ozil at the moment is probably the informed man in the team.
I love
Um,
Ozil, mate. I think he's a top player.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I. I want to go to Raj next because I know you want to big up Leicester, Raj, don't you? Because they did, they came to play.
They came to play. And I think every now and again, if a team plays that well against us, we should acknowledge it. To be quite honest, we're all fans of football in general as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
I know Geoff mentioned earlier on about Mahrez. He could have scored 2 or 3 goals in the first half. I thought Kramaric was fantastic in the second half, and Cambiasso played well and put a few dodgy, pretty good crosses in. But I know we're going to talk about it later on, but Leicester is one of the reasons why we get £5 billion for TV rights, because a team that low down the league have got a chance against Arsenal and could have beaten them if they had a bit more luck. And that's the reason why the Premier League is so good.
Good point.
Exactly. And I really should finish this off with the stat that last time Arsenal played Leicester, they secured their invincible season 03-04 with a 2-1 win at Highbury. Quick question. How has the club changed since then? And I don't know which one of you wants to take that on.
We haven't got 3 hours, though.
Just quickly, in brief. Go on, Raj, seeing as you piped up.
Well, we've gone all corporate, haven't we? More in my opinion, it's more of a massive business now. We'll talk about it in a little while. Has it gone in the right way? Probably not, but you've got to keep faith, and hopefully things will change in the future.
I think we've kicked on. I think we've really kicked on since them times. It's shame we haven't won the league maybe once or twice in between times to really move us on. We'd have been a proper super club by now if we'd have won the Premier League or the Champions League in between times. But we're not a club that's standing still. I know a lot of the guys out there think that, we'd want to go back to Highbury and all that. Let me tell you something. If we were still at Highbury, we would be mid-table because we would no way in the world be able to compete with these other teams that have had these sugar daddies come in. So moving to the Emirates now, how hard it has been over the last 8-9 years or whatever it's been difficult for us, but it will stand in good stead in the end, and hopefully because of the stadium, because of the proximity geographically, we're in London, a lovely, great big stadium, one of the best stadiums in Europe, and one of the best football teams in Europe. We're going in the right way. That's in my opinion.
And Danny, you got anything you wanted to add, or Jason?
No, I think it's been summed up very well.
Fantastic.
I do think, we have made great leaps forward as far as infrastructure is concerned, the stadium, etc. But I do think they need to balance it out within the community. I don't live up there, but it is a corporate giant, the same as majority of other football clubs. To be fair, the majority of them.
I don't dispute anything that Geoff said. We have come forward. I mean, but it's
but you're just looking for a bit more balance, aren't you?
Yeah, it's not. Just all I'm saying, it's not all about bricks and mortar and balance sheets. It's about the fans as well. And sometimes I just think we get forgotten. The one thing
that struck me in the weekend. Okay, you heard their crowd at White Hart Lane. In all fairness, that's impressive. You don't get that at the Emirates anymore. And we do for Tottenham games. We do for it doesn't come across as much, I mean, the one we were talking about it not so long ago, where you had a guy being chucked out of the Emirates for standing up and singing, yet they're happy to leave people video it with iPads. I think that sort of thing has got to change. Whatever reduction the BSM etc. doing to get a better match day experience, that needs to come into force, because if you're chucking people out for standing up and singing and yet you're allowing people to video the game on a fucking iPad, there's something wrong somewhere.
One thing I would say about the Emirates, I just wish they could have brought the fans a little bit closer to the pitch.
Yeah.
I think that 10 or 15 metres, it makes a lot of difference. I mean, you see Dortmund and you see Bayern. Their pitch, they seem to be a lot closer to the pitch, and you can, all the fans are really, really on top, and it gives that atmosphere straight away. And like you say, Jason, you was right. The atmosphere at White Hart Lane and all these away grounds that are old-fashioned stadiums, like Liverpool, they make big games. Them big European nights. They make a hell of a lot of noise because they're right close to the pitch. And it is like a 12-man. That's the only thing about the Emirates that I do. I mean, it's a fantastic stadium. We've got to applaud them. There's no doubt about it. But I wish they would have made it a little bit closer to the stadium, to the pitch, so we can get right into them.
And we'll move on then from that. I think we've covered pretty much both the games this week. Of course, we weren't going to go into the first one in a massive amount of detail for obvious reasons. But we'll move on to our main topic for tonight, which is talking about Sky Sports and the news that they've won the rights to broadcast live Premier League games for the next 5 years. Not a topic you probably expect to hear, but one that impacts on every single club. Raj, let's have your thoughts on this one. He's on mute having a fag, isn't he?
I don't know what he's doing.
He's popped a fucking Rocher in.
Yeah, no, I'm back.
Yeah.
You can edit that out if you want, I would care. But no, what I'm saying is that it's a staggering amount of money. Unbelievable. £5.1 billion, and that's for domestic rights. You can probably add another 40% for overseas, and if people dispute that, I mean, I'll give you an example. NBC are paying about £290 million, dollars. For their coverage of all Premier League games, and they'll be expected to pay about 400 million by the time the negotiations are finished. But it's good in some ways because it shows that we are the best kind of football league in the world. I mean, it dwarfs what Germany, Spain, and Italy get. I mean, our average now is going to be about 10, 11 million pounds per game. Bayern Munich only get 2.5 million, so you can see the difference. The interest that I have is how this money will filter down to grassroots football. And there's obviously, if you've read the newspapers and been on Sky Sports and Sky News this week, there's been a lot of chorus of whether it'll affect ticket prices. My heart says, I hope it does. My brain says we're in a big corporate business market now and there's phenomenal demand for tickets. And it may not happen. But hopefully you might find a Premier League club that puts its head above the parapet and actually does reduce the ticket prices, and then we'll see whether there's a chain reaction to that. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of quite happy that this kind of money came in. I'm just hoping it doesn't go to the agents and players. We're not far away from a 500 grand a week player, though, are we?
No, and I can talk you through some of the finer details to the actual deal itself from a Sky point of view. And bearing in mind, this is BT Sport aside, who I know have paid another ridiculous amount of money for their coverage of it as well. But Sky are basically the coverage of EPL games on Friday evenings, Saturday afternoons, Sunday afternoons and Monday evenings. It's going to be a total of 126 Premier League games. Sky have the best matches, including 26 first pick games and 31 second pick games. And they've promised you'll see live coverage of every Premier League club at least 4 times a season, with access to all 126 matches on all formats, examples Now TV and Sky Sports Day Pass, and the rights to broadcast on all platforms, including mobile and online. Geoff, that's quite staggering, isn't it?
It is staggering. It's incredible. And what's the most interesting thing about it is they're bringing in a Friday night game, I understand. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I love games under lights. There is something special about the nighttime games. Friday night, though, I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see what happens with regards to, when it happens. And it's going to be strange, isn't it, on a Friday night? You finish in work, you generally go home and relax and have to gear yourself up for the game on the Saturday or the Sunday. But Friday night, 7:45. What do you reckon?
You can buy me dinner after the game from now on.
Yeah, true say.
I think it's quite good because you've got Saturday off, haven't you? So I reckon, for home games, I think it'll be quite good actually, because you can go to the game and then a lot of people can get pissed up afterwards and not worried about going to work the next day. It's going to be a problem for away fans. So if it's like Newcastle Arsenal on a Friday night, Christ, I don't know how they're going to do that. But I guess, as you said, you will have to just wait and see what happens.
And Dan, I know you've got something to say about the Friday night games, haven't you?
Yeah, so I'm a season ticket holder at Ipswich Town, Portman Road down here for my sins. And in the Championship, we've had Friday night football for a while now. You only get a couple of seasons, but it's actually quite good. as Geoff says, under the lights, it's good fun, and people finish work on a Friday with a weekend feeling, and then continue it out and go out. And the atmosphere is fantastic. It's
Good
it's
night,
great.
yeah?
It's good night. Yeah, but apart from me, have to watch Ipswich Town. That is the only down point.
You know what else I was going to talk about? You know, it's I think with all this money coming in, I think the first thing they've got to implement is the £20 away match ticket right away through the card.
Yeah,
I think that's surely got to be nailed on now, isn't it? That's the first thing I've got to do. I don't know what you guys think about it. What about you, Jace? You think that £20 on a away game for every away match, all clubs? You think that should come in?
I think it's about time, isn't it? You know, when the Emirates Stadium came into the idea came about, there's supposed to be £10 home tickets. That's never happened. You know, it's about time the fans got something back from this, because you look at it, this deal is basically taking the Premier League further away from grassroots football than it's ever been. You know, it's further away from the public, the players. There will, as you already mentioned, there will be the first £500,000 a week player soon enough. It's not like you meet these guys in the street, you get to have a chat anymore. There's got to be something in it for the fans. Those guys who pay to go away week in, week out, they deserve something back. And I think a £20 ticket is the right and proper thing to do. In 2016, 2017, the bottom club in the Premier League will receive £140 million. That's without parachute payments.
I think
that's more than what Man United won in 2012.
Yeah.
So that's how it's changed.
It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
And another interesting stat is this time the rights were sold for 71% higher than the last time they were sold, and it basically works out that Sky TV will pay about £11 million per game. You know what I am worried about though? I am a little bit concerned that because of the TV money is so massive now. I mean, in the old days, the fans used to absolutely rule the roost, because if you didn't turn up, then the club's fucked.
Yeah.
But now, the TV money is now dwarfing what the fans' input is.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit concerned, whereas they're going to think, well, you know what, we don't really need the fans anymore now. Let's just push it up a little bit more, get the corporates in, get a little bit more money in, rather than look at the the local fan or whatever, the affordable ticket prices. And I'm just worried about, because they're football is nothing without fans. We know that. That's all part. Yeah. That's why they've given the big money, because the British football, the game itself, the fans are always there. You see, every game is more or less packed out. But I've seen games in Italy and the smaller, take out Barcelona, Real Madrid in Spain. Some of their games, the grounds are half empty, and that is what's worrying.
There's a report the other day that AC Milan are thinking of moving from the San Siro to a 40,000-seater stadium, because they just can't fill it anymore. You know, if we get to a stage like that in English, British, whatever football, it's going to be a sad day. You know, you look at it, there's a section of our fan base that already feel alienated. The majority of this money is going to go to players and agents. Okay, so make no bones about it. That's where it's going to get sucked up to.
Yeah, you know the problem is though, we do need to have these. That's the reason why they come here, is because we're paying the top wages, but because the we're getting the top money from these TV channels, because our game is so entertaining. But it's like a vicious circle. When you've got to bring these top players in to make it entertaining, and that's when you're going to get the big money. But I really, really do hope they think of the fans, because if they lose sight of it, if they go that corporate route, you do need these young kids coming through. They've got. In my opinion, I do think there should be so many tickets go on sale for 16, up to
up to 16-year-olds, and it should only be the most they should be is £15.
Gee, I mean,
Because then you'll claim all them young kids. You've got to keep that conveyor belt of young kids coming through, you know?
Yeah, you've got to have the pipeline, okay? But, you know, you look at this now. The bottom club in the Premier League is going to £140 million. The bottom club. Now, you look at United this season. 300 grand a week, Falcao. 300 grand plus a week, Wayne Rooney. They couldn't score in a brothel, okay? You know, what benefit are they? Is everybody at Man United on a living wage? You know, there's that sort of thing going around. You know, are we helping the boys' clubs locally? Are they getting cheap tickets? You know, trying to get people into the sport.
I think there was actually a stat, Jace, that FIFA have reduced the funding to grassroots level football in this country for something like 5 years in a row. I think I read somewhere, which is an absolutely it's disgraceful when you consider the amount of money being pumped into the game by these television channels.
You look at it yesterday, Kay. The chief exec of the Premier League, Scudamore, turned around. We are not a charity. No. You claim to be the nation's sport, but you're not a fucking charity. It says it all, okay? And sooner or later, you know, it's down to individual clubs. I know down Swansea, because a lot of my mates go there, you know, they do put things in place to keep local people involved. Are they doing enough at the Emirates? I don't know. Raj and Geoff are better placed to say. But it's an opportunity. All this extra money is an opportunity to set a marker down.
I'll tell you how much it is going to impact. I mean, it's going to be absolutely amazing. An incredible thing to think about that all of the clubs in the Premier League, the next time the stats come out, are going to be in the top 30 football clubs, richest football clubs in the whole wide world.
Sorry, G, just to cut in you there for a second. 14 years ago, I remember giving money to Swansea City. They were going out of business, basically. It's when Hugh Jenkins, the current chairman, took over. They didn't have a pot to piss in. Okay, they were sold for £1. The vetch field was falling apart. It was, you know, you'd sit there and the seat would crumble underneath you, you know, unless you're in the stands. And now they're in the top 30 richest clubs in the world already.
Yeah, amazing that Chelsea was sold for £1 and all 10 years ago.
Yeah, crazy.
Was that all Ken Bates, wasn't it? Did that?
Yeah, that was you know, a few minutes from going pop until he took over, which is a shame, really.
So before we move on then and end the show with our Twitter and Facebook questions, Raj, Dan, is there anything you wanted to add to this?
No, just going back to that thing about the 20 quid for away fans. The FSF have actually got a campaign going, and it's called 20's Plenty, and they claim that the extra money on the new deal, just the extra increase, if they contributed 3% of that increase to the clubs, you could guarantee £20 away tickets for every single away fan in the Premier League. So, you know, if anyone's interested, they should read up on it. I mean, you know, I'm not asking people to campaign and march and all that kind of stuff, but stay interested because it affects us all in the end.
And Dan, finish us off. Not like that. No, not like that.
Hardly no. No. Aside from the grassroots thing, I suppose it does really go hand in hand. What I'm concerned about is the fact that youngsters can't afford to go to the Emirates. They cannot afford it. It's not no negotiation. They can't, and I think as a result of that, and yeah, we can watch it on telly. Watching live football is as accessible on the internet and on telly as it ever has been. But there is no substitute for going to live matches to watch your local side. And Arsenal's no exception to that. And I feel that that's how your passion for a club grows. Is turning up and watching. And these youngsters are not going to be able to do that, and they won't ever have. For me, that's a crying shame. It really is. So
they are making small progress. Bits of progress. I mean, you know, I'm the first one to criticise the board for if they do stuff which I don't like. But they brought in the Young Gunners enclosure a couple of years ago, and that's £10 a ticket. What I'd like them to do now is to actually make that available for Category A games. I don't think they're available for Category A games. So
Right.
they could do more, but they are they are making those small moves. But people like me just want to push them and do even better.
Yeah,
That
great.
was all brought out through the fan groups, though, wasn't it, Roll?
It was, yeah.
The BSM, the AST,
Well,
IASA.
everyone got together and we did it. And people complain about fan groups and stuff, but things do get done even in the background.
But were you lucky when you're saying about you hope it filters down for the for grassroots and stuff? I mean, you lucky that we don't have our system like Spain, because I hear that there's an uproar in Parliament out there in Spain at the moment. They're trying to overturn the rule that Barca and Real Madrid get the biggest share of the pot, because they get X amount of millions, and you got teams that are 15th and 16th down in the league, and they get like an absolute really tiny percentage.
Madrid gets 6-1 ratio from what they get to teams down the bottom get. So it's a 6-1 ratio. That's quite a lot. 6,000, 600%.
That's madness, isn't it?
But this week, because of the government thing, what they've done is they volunteered to cut it down to 4-1. Now, if people think about it, in this country, it's 1.5-1, so it's a lot more equal in this country.
But as well as that, they have the sporting club status, which gives them tax exemption.
Yeah.
Them, there's Real, Barca, and I think it's Atletico Bilbao, and they're the only teams to have it. Because UEFA are investigating that now as well.
So the landscape might be changing. We might win a few more Champions Leagues now, then, boys, eh?
Yeah, hopefully so. That's one
Optimism.
One will do.
Oh, it's all good. The 5.1 isn't bad. We are going to get over the next 5 to 6 years some world-class players coming into the Premier League. I'm not going to say which clubs, but I'm sure we'll get a couple. So it's good for the Premier League as a whole. And yeah, we've got a chance of winning the Champions League in 5 years' time. And don't forget, we've talked about the Premier League money. You've got the BT billions coming in for the Champions League money next year. So there's even more money in the pot.
I read something today. Accrington Stanley, that famous old football club.
I read that. Yeah.
Put a tweet out that for one football match, the £10 million could pay the wages, staff, and ground staff, and the stadium, and all their expenses for 20 years.
20 years, yeah, correct. It's amazing,
20 years, incredible.
Who was the guy who managed Accrington Stanley? James Beattie, the old Southampton centre forward.
Oh yeah.
He went to manage Accrington Stanley a couple of years ago. He had to pay their tax bill for them. Otherwise, they were going out of business.
I should mention as well that Danny's put something, because he is, like I said, he's lurking. He's put ask CL or Premier League with this new money to take on the rest. So I think he's asking which one would you prefer to win with this new money in place. I'll ask you all individually. Geoff first.
I want to win the Champions League, mate.
Okay, Raj.
Yeah, I'd like to see us winning the Champions League. We've won the Premier League, and we'll probably win that in the future anyway. So Champions League for me.
Jace.
Champions League every day of the week.
And finally, Dan.
Premier League for me. I think that's what counts. Probably because I work with a lot of people who support Chelsea, Man United, and all that. But Premier League for me is still the most special.
Yeah, and Danny's just piped up. He's gone for the Premier League as well. I don't know. I think I'd probably go best in the world or best in the league. See, best in the world, you got talking rights over the best in the world, but in the league, that's where your mates are, your fans of the teams, and that's where the
Champions League's a cup competition. That's what I'll keep saying until we win it. Then it's everything.
Yeah, then it's the best competition in the world. Right, we will draw a line under that then, and we'll now head to Jason, who has all the best of the Twitter and Facebook questions for this week. Jace, we've got about 20 minutes on this one.
Okay, I'm going to keep it short and sweet then. I'm going to ask a few. Thank you to everyone who's asked their questions as usual, the Facebook and Twitter. Really appreciate it, guys. We're going to kick off with Joshua, our Highbury Josh. Who do we play at the centre of the park with Ramsey and Jack now out? Now then, obviously Jack may be back on Saturday, but who would you guys go for? Raj, you first.
You don't read the chat box, do you?
No.
He's got connection issues.
Sorry.
We'll have to go to someone else.
Dan, you go.
Sorry, mate. I cut out as well. Go again with the question.
Go on,
Sorry.
I'll go if you want.
Sorry.
Centre's all right. Centre of the park, you've got to go with. My nut's gone. Not Flamini. Of course, Coquelin.
Yeah.
You've got to go Coquelin and Santi Cazorla. I don't see any problems in that. And you've got Flamini. They'll come on, for the last 15 or 20 minutes if we need him.
Cool. Okay. That's great. Right, next one.
Anyone there?
No,
Hello?
Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry. I put myself on mute by mistake.
oh, you absolute tit.
Oh, well, Here's one for Geoff, actually. This is from Mark Lewis, regular contributor. Does Mourinho need a slap or a punch or a boot in those tiny bollocks of his for being such a slimy, two-faced twat? And do we miss Wilshere?
Oh, definitely. I'd love to hit him with a kipper. That Mourinho. You see him the other night when they asked him the questions about what do you call the defender that headbutted the chap? Ivanovic, yeah. I mean, he must have saw what was going on there. It was ridiculous. Has he got a ban for that Abramovich?
No. It got let go today, Raj, because I was talking to Kate earlier, and I said if anyone remembers when Olivier Giroud got sent off earlier in the season against QPR, and that absolute ape Ferdinand came up behind him and pushed him over, and it's like, you can't get away with that on a football field. Equally like Ivanovic last night. If I went up to someone in a club and I wrapped my fucking forearm round their throat and I stuck the nut into them, they'd be ringing the old bill and I'd be leaving that club in the back of a police car. So why does it not apply to these players on the football pitch? I watched Match of the Day last night and they say, oh, well, there's probably not enough in it for me. What? The fact that he's assaulted him?
Yeah, it was a bizarre incident, wasn't it? He's grabbed hold of the kid, and he couldn't. The fella couldn't do anything about it. It was like a MMA, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's from behind. Okay, it's cowardly. It's disgraceful, and that twat thinks he can get away with it.
I can't understand how he got away with that.
The sad thing is, they do get away with it.
And the fact is, Jace, sorry, Dan, but the fact is, Jace, he had him by the throat, and then Ramirez run up to him and pushed him in the chest. What's he going to do? He's practically being strangled, and you're going up. These Chelsea players, they just think that they've got a different rule book to everybody else. Sorry, Dan.
What was the other part of that question, Jason?
I forgot.
Wilshere,
Yeah.
Jack Wilshere.
Do we miss Wilshere?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether we miss him. I don't think he's been that good for us this year that we've missed him. I think he's a fantastic player, Wilshere. But the penny's got to drop that he cannot keep on running into groups of big, strong players with the ball hanging out, because he's going to get clumped every single time, and he's going to keep on getting his procession of injuries, injury after injury. He's got to learn how to keep hold of the ball a little bit better, and keep himself safe, rather than, because he's very committed, and he doesn't never shirk a tackle, does he? That's the problem with him. Sometimes you can't. You've got to protect the ball a bit better, but don't leave it out there dangling. So when he tries to goes past people, just nick it past them, because you're going to get clumped. And when he's only a little fella, when you've got these 16 stone specimens that are crashing straight through you, all over your ankles and stuff like that, you're going to be out for weeks and weeks and weeks.
I think the thing is as well, the simpler his game is, the more effective it seems to be. That for me,
very true,
is one of the things when he just simplifies it all, simple give and go, he's irresistible. Dan, your opinion on that, mate?
But the last one, the Wilshere thing.
Yeah.
We haven't missed him. I never thought I'd say this, but we haven't missed him. I genuinely feel like that. But it's the same with anything. We know we need the players available. They need to be injury free and available and able to come on the pitch and do something. Like Jack's had a peculiar career, and as much he was played early, played a lot very early on in his career. He's obviously sustained a couple of nasty injuries, and on top of that, he's been played in various positions. And consistency is the thing. I think someone said it earlier. You need to find a position and hold that down, and he hasn't had the chance to do that through his injuries. So I do feel sorry for him, but no, we haven't missed him. And yes, I do want I do want him back and want him available, so we can try something different if and when the inevitable injuries occur, like they seem to have with Ramsey.
Okay. Gim, next question, I'll start off with you. And
Okay.
it's from your favourite, Michael Robert George Bullbeck. Bullbeck, not Ballbeck, Bullbeck.
No, I said ball bag.
I know what you said. How far off the title-winning side are we? And what exactly do you guys think we need in the summer, if anything? Is it a case of another 2 or 3, or are we good when all our players are fit?
I don't think we are a million miles away. I think the key emphasis has got to be on keeping that group of players fit. I think have we got a full team available for selection, then I think we've got a very capable team of winning the Premier League. I'd still like to see. I know I've spoken very highly about Coquelin recently, but I think it's still very early days for him. Very much. I'd like to see, and Dom's going to absolutely spunk in his pants over this. I'd like to see Morgan Schneiderlin come in over the summer, and I'd like to see 2 class players for every position. I think we need someone up top. I think we need a prolific goal scorer up top, because I think Giroud does what he does, but he's not prolific in the way he goes about scoring goals. That's not saying that I don't rate him, because I do. I think he's a fantastic player, but he's more of an all-rounder than an all-out-and-out striker. I think if you add another world-class player to that team in the summer, and you buy some squad fillers around it, people that are more than capable of coming in and doing the job when needs be and when they're called upon to cover injuries, I think we've got a more than capable enough team to go on and actually put up a decent fight for the league.
Cool. Geoff?
I honestly think we are a 30 goal a season striker away from winning the league, and that's it. I really do. I think if we can get I mean, look at them games this season where we've had chances to wrap games up, like Leicester the other day. We should have really put them to bed early doors. Really, we had a few chances, didn't really take them. But if we could get a 30 goal a season striker, I think we'll win it comfortably.
Okay. For me, I'd get Schneiderlin, a £30 million striker, and maybe another defender, and just as a squad player, or to challenge. And I think we could challenge for everything. In my opinion.
We've got Raj back now, Jason. Raj, the question was, how far away are we from winning the Premier League? Wasn't it, Jace?
Yeah, that's correct.
What
I don't know what the other answers were, but I would say immediately an out-and-out striker. I don't think Giroud is our number one striker. Should be number one striker. So I want a 25 to 30 goal a year striker, and perhaps Schneiderlin would make our midfield complete.
Cool, that's brilliant.
Spot on there, Raj. Exactly what we said.
Yeah,
it's pretty much consensus.
Fair
okay.
enough.
The next question, we're going to go to Dan first, then Raj, then Geoff, then Gim. It's from Tom Canton at
Tom what?
What? Your pardon?
You missed the question, Raj. You missed the question from Ballback.
Tom sounds like a nice fella. Why on earth would you say that about the chat?
Tom's a good lad.
Why are you cutting him off?
Oi! Don't use that language, yeah? And it's at Tom Canton, at T Canton 94, sorry. When Ox comes back with the form he was in before his injury, do you think he'll get in ahead of Walcott?
I think he will. That position is up for grabs between the two of them, but Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's done everything he needs to show that he deserves a starting place. He's really come into his own this season. He just gets better and better. He offers more from a physical side than Walcott. I think he's a smarter footballer than Walcott. He obviously hasn't got the pace and probably the finishing either. So maybe I'm talking myself out of it. But no, I think he will start in that position, and he deserves to as well.
Has he got the goals in though, Dan? That's a question, because Walcott does score goals.
Yeah, that is, and we go back to the whole thing about what does he offer defensively? What does Walcott offer defensively? I would say Chamberlain does offer a little bit more defensively, but the goals are important. That's obviously how you win matches. I think, given a run again, Chamberlain has got that in his locker, and he needs the time and the opportunities, because he's got a wicked shot on him from outside the area. He's not maybe as poor as his record would suggest. I think for me, I'd pick Alex before Theo.
Ooh, Raj.
No, I'm afraid, much as I liked Jesus, it's got to be Walcott for me. I know he's been injured and he's still a bit rusty, but he scored. I mean, he does score goals, and we need these goals because we don't have, as I said, we don't have this huge striker up front and stuff. We need goals from everywhere, and the goal factor is most important for me. Oxlade has done really well this season, but he just hasn't taken the chances really, and I'd back Walcott over Ox at the moment.
Cool. Okay, actually, I'm going to cut that question off there because I think it's two great answers. And I've got one here from Joseph at RTZ_Joey, and that's Joey with an E. In your opinion, are we going to lose a couple of our British corps in this coming summer? I'm going to go straight to Geoff with that, please.
No, not at all. No way. No way.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I think they're here for the long haul. It's a great thing that we aren't losing our best players now like we had done over the past few years. We're not in that position any longer. We've got them on long-term contracts. I know Theo's is coming up, but I think he should be all right. I don't think Theo's going anywhere. No, I don't agree with that one bit.
Cool. Gimli.
No, I think there's been so much emphasis on him building that British core there at Arsenal that for him to turn around and sell one or two of them 2 years later would look extremely stupid for Arsene Wenger and the club itself. I did tweet this week that maybe we might see Jack Wilshere shipped out in the summer. I had a lot of people firing various swear words at me, but I think a lot of that is going to be down to how Jack Wilshere performs on the pitch and off of it. But no, if I've got my Arsenal head on, I'd say no, we aren't going to sell any of them.
The thing is, if you look at social media, a lot of, every other idiot wants us to sell Ramsey or Wilshere or Walcott or somebody else. But, these guys are making up a really impressive squad, and I think they'll all come good. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next question, and I've lost it. Sorry, guys, I'm looking at 4 pages.
So just going back on that while you're looking up, Jace.
Yeah.
The question is, I got slated for this ages and ages ago about this Wilshere thing, where I said at the time that he's not going to make it at Arsenal, and I asked that same question now: is Jack Wilshere or is Aaron Ramsey going to make it in an Arsenal team that goes on to win the Premier League or win the Champions League? Because there's a big question mark for me whether they are or not, because we're at that stage now where we can buy top quality players that can come in and do the job straight away. That's the question I asked before, and it's still there, still remains with me.
To me, I think they can be, but I don't think it's necessarily in the perspective that other people have of these players. If you look at Ramsey, he's been slated recently for a couple of performances when we've been poor as a team. And he gets picked on by a lot of people. But the bottom line is he's not playing the position he was last season. He's not getting into those positions to score a goal every other game. He's the link man. Coughlin's doing the disciplined defensive role, etc. And that will change as personnel change. When the focal point of the team is Alexis or Ozil, things change. And I think these players are talented enough and flexible enough to fulfill those roles, in my opinion.
Geoff, if Liverpool came in this summer for a £30 million bid for Wilshere, would you let them go?
That's a question, isn't it?
There you go. That's the question. £30 million on the table.
I'm saying that
Wilshere is down to Wilshere now to make himself a permanent fixture of the team.
Yeah.
We've done enough. The management
Would you
have done
swap
enough.
him? Would you swap him for someone like who's the kid at Tottenham that's pulling up trees at the moment? The midfield player, Christian Eriksen. Would you play? Would you swap him for someone like that? Well, Eriksen creates a lot more than Jack. I've got to be honest with you.
Eriksen is a good player. They wouldn't be.
Would
pains me to say
would you
it.
swap him for Schneiderlin?
No way. Not a chance. No way.
So you would-
Schneiderlin's not as good as Jack.
Answer the
Believe
first
me.
question. £30 million.
Yeah, I'd much probably let him go for 30 mil because I think we'd get a better player for 30 million pound that's not going to keep on getting injured every 5 minutes. He's got to change his game, Jack. Otherwise, we're in trouble.
That's interesting.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Okay, next question, guys. And it's from Mark at AussieGooner80. Do you think Walcott will move so he can become a striker? He wanted that last time. He signed, but he never plays the position. Dan, I want to go to you on that first, mate.
No, I don't. Haven't slagged. No, I didn't slag him off. Having said what I said about him, he's a great asset and he's unique because of his pace. I don't want him gone. I don't think he wants to go, and I can't see where he would go to play up top. That's as simple as that, really.
Cool. Raj.
No, I don't think I want him to go, and I don't whether he wants to go or not. He owes us a couple of years of injury-free football, to be quite honest. And I don't know whether anyone would want to pay him 120 grand a week because he's still got a lot to prove, as Geoff said earlier on.
Okay, great. Right, next question, and it's from Scarlett Farland at Scarlett Farland1. Gimli, you first on this. Do you see Coughlin as our main DM for the future, or do you still think we need somebody better?
I go back to what I said earlier in the podcast that it's still very early days for Coquelin. Although he's impressed with what he's done so far this season, I think it's very much still early doors for him. I'd still like to see Morgan Schneiderlin come in the summer, and you know, competition is always good for places. He's just signed a new contract. Like I said, bring Schneiderlin in, let Coquelin have a go, and see where we go from there.
Okay, Geoff?
Repeat that question to me, sir. I was just sending out a tweet. I beg your pardon.
Tweeting?
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
I've lost it now.
I'm
I've lost the question.
multitasking.
Kim, what was the question?
Do you think Coquelin has a place in the side, or would you still like to see someone come in that role this season, in the summer?
He's doing a good job. He's doing a great job. You see him. He gets his foot in. He gets these little nicks away from players. So he wins the ball back, doesn't he? I mean, he's done a great job so far, but he lacks a little bit in creativity. Not, you know, his passing ability. He's not as tidy as what Arsenal really need. But having said that, he has been improving game by game. So I think he's got a future at the club. If someone come onto the market that you know is a little bit better than him, I think Wenger would maybe go and try and purchase him. But I mean, so far he's not been a bad standing. I got to say, I get a credit to the lad.
Superb. Okay, and the last question for this segment then, and it's from James Lees on Facebook. With the defensive tactics played against City and the Scum, what's gone wrong with the counter with us? We should score far more goals at the pace that we have throughout the team. Even against City, I thought we could have scored a few more in the break with better decision making. I agree with the tactics and the way that they're formed when we go away from home. What do you think the issues are? And Raj, you first on that, mate.
Oh Christ, I've got no idea. We're just hit and miss at the moment. We'll play a few good games, and then we'll lose one. The injuries this season haven't helped, so we've had a mix and match first 11. We haven't had a settled team for a long time. And until we get that, I don't know what's going wrong. You know, is it confidence? Is it motivation? Is it one day we'll got no creativity in the midfield? There's a lot of different factors. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question properly.
I think that's a good answer, to be honest, because you see Santi playing well one week, and then he's non-existent the next. It doesn't make him a bad player overnight, but it does have an impact on the whole team, doesn't it? Who else wants to take that one, guys?
Dan?
Yeah, I will actually, if that's all right.
Go on then, son. Go
I'll just go on then.
on, pipe up.
I was just going to say, it's noticeable. Alexis's absence really changes things for the team. Really, we don't have that don't have that dynamism that we have with him. And I'm not saying that we should be relying on one player, but that's really noticeable. And I think when he's not there, and you need that little bit of bite, and that's something different. He offers that, and if he's not there, and obviously and we don't have that, there's no one else really to step up. Now, we shouldn't be relying on one person, but he's such a unique talent. Then, to a certain degree, you sort of have to. So his absence, I think, will show maybe our inadequacies or our inability to have a plan B. I think that's definitely a reason why we didn't play particularly well against Leicester, because obviously he wasn't fit, and in previous games as well.
But he wasn't there against Villa. We scored 5.
No, you're right, absolutely. But Villa are fucking shit, aren't they?
It's a funny old season this season. Honestly, like I said, I've been watching football a long while, and this is most probably the strangest season because it's very competitive. These teams that you'd normally beat quite comfortably. They're all ready. They're up and ready and getting at you. And they've teams like Hull and Leicester. They're all very, very competitive. It's not easy. It's not easy beating these teams. And that's what's made it more interesting. It's made it harder for everyone. What we've got the team that's the most consistent obviously wins the league, and we just need to get that consistency like we have done. Maybe at the start of last season, we went on a decent run, right up until just after Christmas, wasn't it? We was really, really consistent. We're getting there. But Tottenham game, that set us back a little bit. But I think we will get to the consistency. Whether we'll need we might get to a stage where we wish we carried on for another 6 or 7 games to really push us on. But the season will be over.
Sorry, Geoff. In the last 10, we've won 7, drawn 1, and lost 2.
Yeah,
that's not bad, is it?
No, it's not bad. That's true, but that's how strange it is.
Yeah.
Other teams have been doing exactly the same. Look at Southampton; it's incredible.
Funny
West Ham.
Tottenham have exactly the same record as us in the last 10.
Yeah, you look at. I bet Southampton are going to be something similar. They've got the best events in the world in the league, haven't they?
Yeah.
West Ham, they've been on a good run. It's strange old league.
I think that sums it perfectly. Right, guys, that's it for Facebook and Twitter questions. Thank you everyone who's piped up with them. Really appreciate it. Apologies we haven't been able to get them all on, but we've covered a lot of the stuff of the pod and we haven't got enough time. Gimli.
Thank you, Jason. And again, thank you to everybody who sends in questions every week. They are absolutely fantastic, and we enjoy reading them and answering them. We'll close this then with predictions for Middlesbrough at home. Raj?
3-0.
And your scorer?
Will be Mertesacker.
Jesus.
I need the points.
Geoff?
I'm a little bit worried about this game. I've got to be honest with you. I hope we take it seriously because this Middlesbrough team now are a good side. Obviously now they've gone top of the Championship. They turned over Man City on their the Etihad a few weeks ago, and they have got some good players. There's a young kid that's on loan from Chelsea. I can't think of his name now. And there's another little player that plays in the middle of the park. They've got some good players, this Middlesbrough, and if we don't take them seriously, it's a banana skin waiting to happen. I reckon if we'll get through it, we might go 1-0 down to scare us, but we'll win 2-1.
Okay, Dan?
3-1, Giroud.
Okay, and Jace?
Do you know what? I'm going to do Geoff Arsenal. 2-0 Giroud.
I'm going to go 2-0 Welbeck. Ooh. I also need the points. Right then, and we'll finish off with some shout outs. So let's go back to front and Jason.
Oh, Jace, come on.
Jason, I've got someone coming for the puppy's ear in now.
He's gone.
Oh, gone. Just keep going.
In the valleys.
Oh, no, sorry. Sorry, he caught me off guard.
He's muted himself.
I have indeed.
He should neuter himself, not mute himself.
Hey, we all want to see puppies tonight. Leave me alone. Okay, I'll tell you what, my shout out is to, we've asked a question off him tonight. It's Mark, the Aussie Gooner. That's at Aussie Gooner 80. He's a great lad. Good fun. Give him a follow.
Fantastic. Dan?
Just a couple, actually. I won't
Oh,
go into too
two?
much.
You want two?
Yeah.
Bloody hell,
Debut show and he comes on and he
Oh,
wants to. He's taking a piss, isn't he?
He's going to have to write it next time, isn't he?
Oi,
Oh,
you'll
I
feel
would
guilty
order
when I tell you who
six.
it is. You'll feel
I-
terribly guilty when I tell you who
I've
it
got
is.
an idea who it is. I have got an idea who it is.
Right. It's actually I've been in contact with Rocky Rocastle's 3 children. Just asked a question about the David Rocastle Trust, which is not currently operating. I think it's done its bit, but at Rye Rocastle, RY Rocastle 7. Let me just scroll through and try and find the others. Melissa Rocastle, who is at X Miss Rocastle X, and also Monique Rocastle, who's at Monique Rocastle. I asked the question, just a question about the trust, hoping I'd get eventually get a reply. But this just goes to show what great people. All 3 of them replied to me individually, and told me the situation of the David Rocastle Trust. So that just goes to show what polite, well-mannered young people they are. So a shout out to all of those 3. So maybe people want to get on Twitter and show a little bit of love to them.
Definitely so. I mean,
Great shout.
we've got something coming up for our 100th show, which is going to involve you, Dan, and a very kind offer you made to us. But we shall release that over the coming weeks, and hopefully everyone gets involved. And we're going to try and raise a little bit of money for a good cause.
So do you want to mention the actual charity?
Yeah, can do. Dan?
Yeah, no problem. Do you want? I don't know what you want me to do.
Just tell us about the charity. That's all. Because we can do more down the line, can't we?
Okay, yeah, fine. Well, it's actually just Cancer Research UK. It's a well-known charity. We had hoped to do something through the David Rocastle Trust, but as I mentioned a couple of times, that's not currently operating. But that's the charity that hopefully some money will be raised for. That'd be fantastic.
And we're going to have some shirts to give away, and we're going to do it very much on everybody that donates, and you can donate £1 or whatever, and then you go into the hat, and then we'll pick them out, and then the first 2 win the shirts or whatever we get, the first however many win whatever, and we'll try and get some other prizes for that to try and raise a little bit of money for an absolutely fantastic cause.
Are we going to date with Raj Patel?
We could do.
What's that?
That'll raise thousands.
Oh, date with me? Yeah, 14th of February. What?
Lovely. Right.
20 grand. I need a new Daytona.
Yeah, why not?
We'll move on to Geoff for your shout, please, Geoff.
Yeah, dear old friend of mine, at N1 Angel. She is taking her family to the game this weekend, and they've got a box, so there's a load of them going in there, so fuck knows what's going to happen to the box after the game, mate. They'll have to refurbish it, I should imagine, but she's taking her mum, dad, sons, and a few of her family over from Ireland, so that'd be good fun. Good luck to her. Hope she enjoys herself.
Fantastic. And finally, Raj?
Well, Highbury Harold has now retired because he got sick of the abuse. So we've replaced him with Highbury Harry at Black Scarf AFC. And for the last 3 days since he's been on, he's been doing a comic routine non-stop for 72 hours. He's hilarious to follow, and give him a try. Fantastic.
And mine goes to at Goonagirl Kate, because it's Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Oh, God. Have you bought her a ring?
No.
It's Saturday again. Saturday.
Is it Saturday?
Don't mention ring.
See, the thing is, we went into Tesco's yesterday, £20 for a bunch of flowers, and fucking made them money. Do you know what I mean?
You get them out of the garage, you do, wouldn't it? £3 or something. You get them out of the garage.
Get them out of the cemetery. There's loads of them out there.
Just give her a puppy.
Yeah, that would be good. She said, "Are we doing cards this week?" I said, "No, you know what my feelings on cards are. We don't do birthday cards."
Full of romance.
Yeah, I am.
Talking of rings, how's Fife?
Park Fife. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Right, we should really end it on that note because I think these people are at the door. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
Nanu, cheeky monkeys.
Puppy farmer.
No, it should have been cheeky monkey bitches.
I don't know, do I? You fucking English bastards. I've had enough of you lot this week. Honestly, boys, I can't take it anymore. They've been coming at me from everywhere. If it's not the fucking English rugby fans or part-time rugby fans, it's fucking Tottenham fans.
Oh, that's a dig, Jace. I'm not a part-time rugby fan. I just support England when they win.